Clinton area Showboat Theater here on this Thursday morning. Another opening of the show, All Shook Up. James Beaudry here with a couple of the stars of the show. We'll get to them in. James, we'll jump in. The last time you got to mention this show gets to be indoors in the theater.
Yes.
So tell us about how that's going to work if we're coming to the show.
It's going to be just like the old days. We're so excited to be back inside in the theater in the boat. The show is at 7:30 again, and we have matinees on Sundays and Wednesdays now at 3 p.m. All of our shows were at 8 when we were outside, so we're excited to start earlier. And just like the old days, you'll pick up your tickets in the lobby and then head up the ramp into the theater, and we'll have a great time.
Masks required or not? How's that work?
Masks are still recommended by the CDC for everyone, even if you're vaccinated in large indoor gatherings. So we are recommending that people wear masks. The requirement for that from the Actors Union was dropped as of this morning.
This morning?
Yeah, as of July 1, that requirement is no longer part of our safety rider in our contract. So, of course, we want everybody to put their own health and the health of everyone else first. So we recommend bringing a mask because you will be inside with a lot of other people. But we will not be mandating that as such.
You're directing this show. Is this one you're directing?
Yes, I am.
You paused there.
I thought for a second, like, wait, what show is this? Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
It's only the middle of the summer and you're confused already.
Yeah.
Did it get that way sometimes?
It does, especially this summer when we keep every show has been in a different location. So
that's right. You had. How is it that you've been involved in all three from some fashion? 3 locations, a little different. Getting things ready, getting things organized, from lighting to scenery to sound to everything.
Yeah. We knew with our outdoor shows that there would be a lot of challenges as far as lights and sets and having to put things up and take them down every day because they're in public spaces that people had to use. And then it was just 2 weeks ago that we found out we could go back inside for All Shook Up, but we had to redesign everything and think about the show in a whole new way because instead of being a very big venue, now it's in a fairly small venue. So how do you make the show work the best way you can for the space? So a lot of thinking and rethinking, but really pleased with where we came.
Now you've got a couple shows after All Shook Up. Was it this one obviously because this would have been in the show you would have had this design for the outdoor band show.
Yeah.
The other one's is a little easier. You got a little more time. Maybe you weren't quite as far as that. All of your designers to get reorganized.
Yeah, we chose All Shook Up specifically for the band shell because it's a big show. So having to move that one back inside was really, really challenging. Of course, we wanted to do it and we made it happen. Church Basement Ladies and Constellations, which is this really beautiful play that we're going to end the season with, those are just better off in smaller spaces. So it's actually much easier for those shows too.
What about directing? Is it different directing a show, any show, inside now that you've seen some outdoors?
Yeah.
Does your directing have to change?
To an extent, because the scale and the distance of where the audience is in terms of where the actors are, you're much further away when you're outside. And so the size, the scale of the performance needs to be a little bit bigger outdoors so that we know where to look and the audience is following the story. And inside, you still need to work to the space, but it's different. It's definitely different. And with a show like All Shook Up, that's quite funny and over the top and big energy, it's about finding the balance between being honest with the scenes and real, but also keeping it at a comedic, larger than life level.
And if maybe folks are watching on YouTube, they notice that the actors are sitting there nodding as you're talking exactly what you're saying. Yeah. Alexa Lopez, Grant Alexander Brown with us. Alexa, you got the microphone. Tell us a bit about yourself.
Well, I'm from Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and this is my first time working at the boat, so I can't speak.
You better get over that by tonight.
No, it's been really fun to see like Smokey Joe's come from, you go to this outdoor venue with the band shells you were talking about, and it's huge, and you're watching these incredible actors work their butts off outside and they're sweating, and then we get this great news that we can work inside. And of course, I was a swing for Smokey Joe's, so coming inside and knowing that I was going to be on stage for All Shook Up was really nice to know about. I'm gonna be a sophomore in college. I go to Baldwin Wallace University for musical theater, and I play Randy in this show. She is a townsperson, and she's a little bit wild. I don't want to give away too much about her because she has a really large arc throughout the show.
Full disclosure, Randy is my favorite character. She's my favorite.
So yeah, I think All Shook Up is one of the funniest shows I've ever been in, and probably the most fun I've had on stage. And especially during this time, I think this is what everybody needs right now after this long, hard year, to just come sit in a nice, air-conditioned, intimate theater and laugh and have some human connection and have a good time. And I'm really excited for people to see it.
How was it? Obviously, you wanted to do theater for a long time, typically. Mm-hmm. How was it not being able to do it? Or were you able to fit in a little bit, not that for a year and a half?
It was hard. Thankfully, my school still found ways to do virtual theater, which I'm grateful for, but you can't compare anything to, looking at someone in the audience and singing to them and being in the room with them. I think like the atmosphere of a room when you're doing theater, it really like feeds into your performance. And when you're looking at a camera and that's all you have, it kind of like sucks the life out of you. I mean, if you're a performer, you're a performer. You do what you got to do to get by and, continue your job. But I mean, of course, like we were all terrified. Like, when is theater gonna come back? Like the one thing that we need to have a lot of people in a room for it can't happen, and we don't know when. And I'm so glad that this summer we can finally do that again. So.
For Grant too, but obviously you haven't done a show in the theater inside.
Mm-hmm.
You've done rehearsals there. What do you think that's going to be like? Because I was talking about, Grant, you've been at Timberlake. It's a bigger theater.
Yes.
This is a relatively small theater, small stage. The audience is, I'm saying that the audience is right there. I know you, but the first two rows you don't have, but literally you can reach out and touch the audience. How's that going to be doing that different than a big theater?
Well, in a more intimate space, you can kind of take the audience by the hand and say, come on this journey with me. In a more broader space, there's a little bit more of a distance. I mean, of course, because it's bigger, but you can feel more intimately because they're right there. You can reach out and literally touch them, and whether they're splitting your sides or they're making you bawl and weep, you feel like that little bird on their shoulder, just watching the world unfold around them.
Well, what about you? Seeing that small theater, knowing the audience are going to be right there, that you can see them.
I think that's one of my favorite parts about this show. I fortunately got to perform at the band show one time. I got to go on to Smoke.
We'll get to that. Yeah.
But having someone like right there, it's like they're radiating. You guys are like feeding each other energy, and you can see their faces when you say something funny or when it's a heartfelt moment in this show, like Grant was saying, and like having that energy fill the room, it fuels the show and it just keeps it going. And so I love being so close to people. Yeah.
And these days there's such a big mutual appreciation for what everybody's doing.
Mm-hmm.
As the audience, being an actor and looking out at the audience, like I was in the band for Patsy Cline, I played bass, and then I was in Smokey Joe's Cafe. And then looking out into the audience every night, you see nothing but smiles. And you can tell that people have needed this. People have wanted this for so long. And it is just the same with the people that are on the stage doing the show. We've been waiting for, so long, it seems, eons, to give people something to smile about, something to laugh about, to make them feel good to escape these very strange times. And I think with this season specifically, because it's all just good music, and some beautiful work like Constellations coming up at the end of the season. People are really going to. I think people have kind of forgotten how to enjoy an in-person experience, but we're saying, we're not done with you. Come on back.
Yeah.
And do both when you perform in an audience, you mentioned watching a camera and a computer screen is different. When you can see the audience, does that influence your acting? If something is working or not, even if it's, I say on the other side, if it's not working, can you adjust on the fly by sensing that audience reaction, especially indoors? Might be a little harder outdoors, it's just a bigger space, but does that then start to influence your, I need to work harder, or this is not working the way I thought it would? And in your head, do you have to go, oh, yes or no?
Yeah. As far as comedy goes, if they're a little quiet, a little bit more reserved, you got to kind of coax them a little bit more. But if they're, busting out, from the get-go, it's kind of nice to go, all right, we got it. Let's just, really bring her home.
Yeah.
That's what you, when you see the audience, you can literally see people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Does that make a factor for you?
Yeah, I mean, like Grant just said, sometimes you get an audience that's a little bit more quiet, and you can just tell right off the bat. You come off stage, you're like, it's a quiet crowd tonight. And sometimes you put out a lot more energy and try to get them to, feel it a little bit more. And then sometimes you have an audience that's just going for it. And you can see them having a blast. And I think either way, it feeds into the performance and influences it, and gives you more energy, encourages you. But yeah.
Because either way, people are going to love it,
Yes.
So.
Like you mentioned, you got the performance. As you say, a swing that many people may not see if they say that term. If you're in theater, you understand that.
Mm-hmm.
What is if they see your name in the book and it says swing? What does that mean for you?
Right.
What does that mean from a theater term for somebody who may not be familiar
Yes.
with it?
So I was the female swing for Smokey Joe's Cafe, which means that the 4 women that, played their roles in that show, I covered them. So if any one of them, there was an emergency or they couldn't perform, I would fill in for them. So I covered their songs and their trackings. And on closing night of Smokey Joe's, actually one of the women lost their voice. And so I ended up finishing Act 1 for her and going on in Act 2, which I definitely wasn't expecting on the last night of that show.
It was amazing. It just comes in and does the job, and on the last day too. And sometimes, I've been a swing before myself. You go to rehearsals, you get the material down, you can go, okay, great. And for four roles to have in your brain, that's a lot. But she came in and nailed it, and that's just part of the job.
Speaking of that show, you knew Alexa was coming in, and to the rest of you on stage, no, okay, we gotta say up our game, but we gotta be a little more attentive and make sure that she's where she needs to be.
Yeah, we all kind of when we knew that we were going to have to bring in Alexa, we all kind of got in a football huddle. It was like, okay, team, here's what we're going to do. We're going to herd her in the right direction. She knows the song. She's going to be great. If there's, I had this little dance flourish with the other actress. I was like, don't even worry about it. Just worry about the song. I'll make something up, Yeah. But, as far as the audience is concerned, they're just watching a great production. But it's all the stuff behind the scenes of people scrambling and, doing kind of mental jujitsu.
I was in the audience that night. And,
swing that mic over there so you can. If you're watching, you're sitting there going, "What are we going to do? I know how this is going to work."
It's one of those moments when you're in charge, and you see it unfolding, and you know that there are many phone calls and people are working really hard behind the scenes while the show is going on. So I knew what was happening, but I was in the audience, so I didn't know. Because Alexa wasn't at the theater, right?
Yeah, I just gotten out of the shower at my hotel room when I got the call.
So the call is coming, and we're like, oh great, we're gonna swap out, and I'm sitting there watching, and I'm going, okay, there's like 3 songs till the big end of Act 1, and I get a message from stage management that Alexa's on her way and is going to go into the show. And I'm watching the show, and I'm like, okay, there's like one more song, and it's the band show, right? So you can see, if you're looking behind, I'm like looking for the car that might be dropping her off, coming and going, and it's like we're about to go into the last song, and I'm like, are we going to go to intermission early and not do the song? Is she here yet? What's going to happen? What's going to happen? What's going to happen? And then walks out stage with a handheld mic because there wasn't time to put her in a microphone, and just right into it. It was an exciting moment.
Yeah.
That's the
You hope that you never have to have those moments in the theater, but when you have them, when everything works the way it's supposed to, it's just really exciting.
And why, when you're playing swing, you don't have to be there all the time, or you just figured out, I don't need to go tonight?
I was on call, so during their run, I would sit in my hotel room and expect or, wait for a text or a phone call saying, hey, Alexa, we need you. And then I would run over to the band show, which is what happened that night.
You ever done anything like that before?
This is my first time ever being a swing or an understudy, because I'm also an understudy in All Shook Up for the Sandra and Natalie. So it's taught me a lot. I'm forever grateful for everything that I've learned thus far, and it's been really exciting.
Is it, you come in here, what year were you finishing in college?
I'm going to be a sophomore in college.
So is this your first summer theater then?
Yeah, this is my first summer stuff.
How's it been?
It's been really fun, especially I'm so lucky that I'm getting to do this right now, especially because I was just a freshman in college, and, this is like one of the few theaters that is really like putting it out there, and we're doing the thing, full throttle. And it's a great place to work and a great environment, and we put on amazing shows. So this has been an amazing experience. Yeah.
Something you take back to school later in August?
Sorry?
Something you can take back to school, be a step ahead?
I hope so.
And you had a unique story to tell.
Yes, running on stage for my classmates.
So you've been at Timberlake for a number of different summer theaters.
Yes.
What do you do in the off time?
Wow. I don't know. Not a lot recently, but I was living in Chicago during my time at Timberlake with Jim. I'm no longer in school, as I'm sure you can't tell. But no, I play and I write music, and I do theater. I was living in the Netherlands for the last year and a half during the pandemic, but now I'm back, and I'm living with my folks down in Houston, hey H-Town, and I'm kind of just now starting because of I saw Jim's Facebook post about the 2021 season at the Clinton Showboat, and immediately messaged him on Facebook, hey, is this really happening? Is it for real happening? Because here's my headshot and resume. You're on there at least 8 times. Let's just make it happen. You want someone you trust, right? But sure. Yeah, true. And I'm so glad to be back in the Mississippi River area, with Timberlake and Mount Carroll just on the other side. I'm really coming back home to see how the other half lives, and it's just been a great experience. I've never actually been able to go to the Showboat and watch a production because I was usually in each show in the season. So if I wasn't rehearsing, I was on stage that night. So finally, I get the full experience of being at the Showboat.
You get to be here at the Showboat.
Oh yeah,
so You're familiar how the summer season works then, from show to show to show.
Mm-hmm.
And so just old hat for you just to get ready for one show while you're doing another.
Yeah, well, it is old hat, but coming back, it was, at least before I got here, I was a little worried. I was like, do I still know how to do this? 5 shows in 3 months with only 11 to 10 days of preparation. It's actually crazy what we all do to make it work, but it works every time without fail, and I love that. There's something about the adrenaline of doing the impossible and celebrating it for people that come to pay and see you put on some magic. So it's really something special.
You said Randy's your favorite character. Tell us about we'll see from you on the stage? Well, we recognize you.
Yes. So I was the bass player in Always Patsy Cline. I played myself in Smokey Joe's Cafe. I was the one that sang Ruby. I had the red shirt on, so listeners, that's me. But now in this production, I'm playing Dennis. And he is an interesting young man. He's an aspiring dentist who's in love with his best friend, Natalie, who's a female mechanic. And when a guitar-playing roustabout comes into town, needing his bike fixed and wanting to bring the town to life after their dreary existence, starts to get a little worried about his relationship with Natalie because he's about to go to dental school. He's never told her that he loves her, and this is, it's now or never. And so, which is also another song in the show, so that's a good pun for those.
A shameless plug.
Shameless plug, yeah. And so Dennis is basically just trying to win the girl of his dreams and also become best friends with the cool guy Chad and feel like one of the guys for the first time in his life. It's really his arc is really one of self-discovery and courage, and so that's what I try to bring to Dennis, who could easily be the quintessential nerd, which he is. And I don't want to say it's typecasting, but there's a little bit involved. And so just trying to make this sweet, humble guy be more than he is, who he always was.
I understand a lot of. I think the description about quick changes, mistaken identities. Will we be mistaken? Will we have trouble spotting you?
Oh no, I'm the one who knows who everybody is, and and so I'm one trying to give letters to here saying no, they think you're you, but you love them. But wait, that they love you, but you're not them, and I know that. But he's the guy in the middle.
Let's put it to you. Acting, we mentioned something you wanted to follow. What drives you to do that? What makes you want to be on stage?
Oh, I think it's just a passion. I don't know. I started doing theater in ninth grade actually, in high school, and it was just, I watched my sister. My sister's a performer. She's, been on The Voice. She's a singer-songwriter living in New York. And so I kind of always lived in her shadow and always wanted to do it. And then when I finally got the chance to perform, it was like something sparked inside of me. I had never sung before, like high school, basically. And then I started getting into it. And, throughout high school, I started doing all these auditions in New York. And, ended up getting into a wonderful college for musical theater, and it just feels right. And sometimes the universe kind of brings you to do something, and then it's a weird thing. It's hard to believe sometimes, and I'm really grateful, and I'm really happy, and I hope to continue doing this for as long as possible. So
what's it like coming in here for both of you? Grant, you've been in Summer Theater, you've been to Timberlake. Alexia, you haven't. Just all of a sudden you come to town, you come to Clinton, Iowa, and you now have X number of your new best friends. How does that work for you? To get thrown together, I believe the first guest, I think her term was forced intimacy, was the term she used for things like this, when everybody gets dropped in, and literally you have to be, or at least appear to be best friends on stage. How does that work?
Well, it doesn't take that much effort.
No, it's a wonderful
tell you
group of
that.
people.
Everybody's so kind, so nice, and really just puts the work in to what they do. For me, I was just excited to be around, my people, theater people, especially while I was living over in the Netherlands. Everybody was at home isolated, of course, but then I was home isolated over, on the other side of the world. So just to come back and feel like myself again, with all these great people and performers who surprise me every day. Like, you think you see one facet, and there's 5 other facets right behind it of these performers, all talented, all kinds, all goofballs.
Jumping into this, is it an easy thing, a little scary to start?
It was scary coming here, like flying here alone as a 19-year-old to Clinton, Iowa. I've never been here before, but it really is the kindest group of people. I've never seen such a talented, dedicated group of people. Nobody's slacking. Everybody is doing their best for the betterment of, the show and for themselves. And so the fear kind of went away pretty quickly, and I felt, even though I'm not at home, like we make a home within ourselves. And the whole, cast, crew, the whole Clinton Showboat community is just a warm, inviting place. And
Somebody's struggling, people are there
Oh, yeah.
with a hand on your back saying, "You got this."
Mhm.
Like with the night that Alexa went on, we were like, "You got this. It's
So
gonna be
encouraging.
great. We love you. You got it's." And even in times of non-stress, it's still, "You've got this. We love you. Let's
Yeah.
have a good time."
We should talk, during when you're off stage with how you doing, how talk about those
Yeah.
backstage.
Well, for Smokey Joe's Cafe, there was always at least two people in the audience who knew every song from Lieber and Stoller. And so, like one night there was a gal in a purple lawn chair with a purple blanket, all purple, and she was singing along. And so it's like, okay, tonight the show is for the purple lady, let's, give her something to really sing about so she's not alone. But yeah, watching the audience, and if you've got family out there, it's like, "Oh, did you see them?" Or "That laughs my mom," or something like that. Or, "Man, what happened in that number? That was weird." Because it happens.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's either that or just checking in. How's your show going? Everything
How are you
good?
doing?
Need help or need a hand? Just let us know. Everybody's so supportive of everybody, which really makes a situation like this work.
Mhm.
Like you mentioned, your sister's in New York. She get to come see you actually on the stage this summer.
No,
You gonna make her come out?
no, I can't. She's actually moving apartments right now, but my parents will be here next week. So I'm really excited for them to come see All Shook Up. My dad loves the Elvis music, so
They made it easy to learn all the songs. So.
yeah. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
I knew pretty much all the songs already.
Same.
So
And which is going to make the audience, because I'm sure they know just about every song as well,
Yeah.
just really dive into this material and fall in love with all these goofy characters who just want that love.
James, been the mic to talk about. You got the Follies coming up next Tuesday, or not 13th, a little bit away, but you won't be in before then. But
Right.
so if someone wants to come, can they still get there?
Yeah.
Hurry though.
Tickets are available at the box office. I haven't looked at how sold it is, but we'll be announcing our plans for 2022. I can't believe it's 2022 coming up already.
don't even.
Yeah.
Time is gone.
Oh my god.
But next year we're gonna do another season, and we'll have some exciting news about it on I think it's the 13th.
13th. So,
Yeah.
And we'll see these two and others.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
And
Yeah.
You got your
They don't.
was all
They
planned.
don't know what they're doing yet.
Do you?
We just learned about it right here in this booth.
I think. Well, they did. Did they pick what they want to do, or do you pick for them?
It depends. We're gonna do some material from the shows that we're hoping to do next year. So, but we're gonna get All Shook Up open first, and then talk about that like Monday or something.
That's
You know.
You're going to run it through Tuesday morning.
Yeah, it'll be fine.
It'll be
good.
Be good. And if you want to All Shook Up, get down to the box office online, get those tickets, get them today.
Yeah, get them early. It is reserved seating again since we're inside. So, especially if you're coming with a larger group, book them early so you can get the seats you want. And we do run for 3 weekends.
You got free this time.
There's no performance tomorrow because finally Friday's at the band shell, and then there's no performance on the 4th, which is Sunday. So we have tonight, Saturday, and then we're back to our regular schedule next Wednesday with a matinee.
Well, good luck.
Thank you.
Lake, James
Thank
Beaudry
you.
with us, also Alexa Lopez, Grant Alexander Brown here on our discussion about the Clinton Area Showboat Theater and All Shook Up.